we finally do have some information regarding Joshua Kimmich and where he does stand with FC Barcelona. Now, I want to give everybody here some context. Barcelona have been wanting a central defensive midfielder, and there has been some discussions about Barcelona looking to reinforce that position in January. And so at the moment, Deco is searching the market. He is looking at where he can find the next central defensive midfielder that can reinforce this team greatly. Xavi Hernandez has also approved that a new defensive midfielder needs to come. And this problem, right, is definitely being magnified right now. Like with Frankie de Jong getting injured, everything else just fell apart, and we saw the problems that Barcelona are having. Like for example, with Frankie out, Oriol Romeo had to come in and go into his spot, but when we saw Oriol Romeo play up against Porto in that position, he looked very shaky. Yes, of course, we're going to be hearing that Barcelona have complete confidence in Oriol Romeo. They're going to give him more encouragement and things of that nature, but we know that deep down, this club is already plotting. They're plotting about what they're going to be doing, whether it's in January or in the summer of 2024. And so now we do have Gundogan in that position, but you can just tell that Gundogan is much more effective as a number 8 than a number 6 and playing in deep areas. Like, yes, he plays phenomenal. He plays amazing. He's a great ball retainer. But I know that Gundogan, Xavi, even for us, we all can agree that he performs much better and he's much more of an exciting player when he is a number 8 and playing right next to Lewandowski. Now, all of this does lead towards one thing: Barcelona needing to reinforce the CDM position. And we don't even know if Barcelona can do something in January because there are not a lot of options. And even if there are options, they're going to be those cheap options, right? To those type of players that just come in to solve the problems for you tomorrow, but they're not long-term replacements. And I don't even see Barcelona finding that next CDM in like Brazil or in Argentina for around 25 to 30 million euros. I really don't see that playing out, because even if they go down that lane and go for the youth players, Barcelona still need an instant impact, right? A player that can come in here to Barcelona and provide massive results like the next day. But like I've said, if they want something like that, it will not come cheap, which makes me believe that Barcelona are just going to have to put up with these type of problems right now and just deal with it and wait until this season is over. And that is why we hear reports about Barcelona waiting until the summer in order to make a huge, big investment to reinforce the CDM position. And that is where Kimmich does come in. Now look, do I believe that Barcelona have the capacity to sign a Erling Haaland or Kylian Mbappe type of player? Like, do they have the capacity to sign someone that is around 250 million euros? I don't think so. I don't think that Barcelona have that. Now, I don't work in Barcelona. I'm not one of the accountants. I don't know what Barcelona can or cannot afford, but I'm gonna just assume that they cannot do that. And I think that Barcelona can sign, though, a player that's worth around 65 to 90 million euros, but nowhere near like the level of Kylian Mbappe or Erling Haaland. I don't see that playing out. So I think that in the summer of 2024, Barcelona are going to be looking to invest heavily on one player and then bring in other players, but at a very cheap price. In the previous summers and winter transfer windows, we have been seeing Barcelona kind of spread out their money into different players. Like for example, they spent 50 million euros on Koundé, 55 million euros on Lewandowski, another 55 to 65 million euros for Ferran Torres, and then they brought in youth players for a very cheap price. But I think that this time we will see Barcelona put all of their money, all of their eggs in one basket, and they're going to be betting on Joshua Kimmich. And so it does say here, according to ESPN, Joshua Kimmich was offered to Barcelona in the summer of 2023, so like about 2 or 3 months ago. Barcelona could not afford a deal at that time though, but continued to monitor the German midfielder situation in the belief that Bayern Munich could negotiate a transfer at the end of the campaign with his contract expiring in 2025. Xavi Hernandez is a big fan of Joshua Kimmich. Now, I know that Bayern are going to want to negotiate with FC Barcelona because they don't want to let Kimmich go for free. Definitely not, because we even got Bayern Munich last time with Lewandowski and they knew that they couldn't extend the contract of Lewandowski. So in a way, they were forced to sell Lewandowski to us for 55 million euros in total. And the same thing is going to go on in the next summer with Joshua Kimmich. I think that Bayern Munich are going to be very hard to negotiate with. They're never easy in terms of business, even on the pitch actually. And even though it may seem like Barcelona might not even lock down the deal, they will, because Bayern Munich have no other choice. Like what? They're going to just force Joshua Kimmich to stay there for 1 more year and then let him go for free? Bayern Munich will never do that. So I can see Barcelona really going for the player, and especially with Xavi Hernandez also wanting Joshua Kimmich. Kimmich is someone who knows how to control the ball, right? He knows how to retain the ball, move the ball fast. He plays very simple, very much a midfielder that Xavi Hernandez does like. And I would even say that Joshua Kimmich is very similar to Gundogan. I just think that Kimmich has much more of a finesse on the ball. And just to give you guys an idea on what Joshua Kimmich brings over Gundogan and like how they compare to one another, here are going to be some stats in terms of second assist per 90, third assist per 90, smart passes per 90. Joshua Kimmich overall is superior in terms of the second assist per 90, third assist per 90, and I think that they are even in smart passes per 90. But as of things like key passes per 90, Joshua Kimmich is superior. Passes to the final third, Joshua Kimmich is again superior and beating Gundogan by almost double in terms of passes to the final third. As for the passes to the penalty area per 90, 90, Joshua Kimmich is yet again beating Gundogan by double with 4.08, while Gundogan has 2.24. And then you have the through passes per 90 with Kimmich yet again beating Gundogan by double. Gundogan has 1.27 and Kimmich has 2.61. So you can see that Kimmich is a reflection of what Gundogan is, but at a much higher value. And so these are stats that has been collected from over the past year from today. And context matters, right? Like the fact that this data has been extracted and we still see Joshua Kimmich superior over Gundogan. Gundogan was in a much better sporting project compared to Joshua Kimmich. We have seen Bayern at an all-time low in the past year, while Manchester City won the treble. They won all of the trophies in the world. They played superior football and they were dominant over Bayern Munich in the previous Champions League campaign. And yet we still see Joshua Kimmich superior in all aspects over Gundogan in terms of passing attributes. It's very impressive. Now I think that if Kimmich arrived back in the summer, Oriol Romeu would have never came. Like we would have never seen Oriol Romeu sign for Barcelona. Yes, the whole idea was for Xavi to bring in Gundogan and Kimmich at the same transfer window, but it could never happen. Unfortunately, Joan Laporta could only do so much because we had so many restrictions coming from Javier Tebas. But I expect this operation to evolve and even advance. I do see Barcelona really going for the player. And, you know, like when we talk about how Kimmich has his relationship with Thomas Tuchel, it is not the best. Kimmich is currently not the happiest at Bayern. And we have seen some reports explaining that Kimmich is not happy because he wants to play as a full-time number 6, but Tuchel is telling Kimmich that he should play as a number 8 because he thinks that is where he does work at best. And so there are some tensions, and every time there is like a player having their differences with the coach, the player is going to want to look elsewhere to see where he can go and find the perfect place to go to, and if he can be given the opportunity to play in the position that he does want to play in, which is why Barcelona come into the picture. And Barcelona have a massive opportunity here because they desperately do need a number 6, and we also do have an opportunity to bring in a player that actually wants to play as a number 6 and not a number 8, because I believe that when we talk about Gundogan, right, Gundogan can play as a 6 and he plays amazing, but I just feel like Gundogan enjoys it much more to play as an 8 than a 6. I don't see Gundogan ever complaining, nor do I hear anything about Gundogan maybe speaking badly on Xavi because he doesn't place him as a number 8 full time. I think that Gundogan is a very professional player and a player that many of us do respect, and I know deep down Gundogan likes playing as a number 8 in much more advanced areas because I could just tell by his body language, his facial expressions, and just his overall movement. And so I'm sure that Xavi Hernandez has also pointed this out, and he's like, okay, Gundogan can play as a 6, he plays amazing, but I want him happy. And I think that if we want to see Gundogan as a number 8 even more and more, we have to bring in Joshua Kimmich to reinforce the number 6 position, so it can neglect or reduce the chances of Gundogan seeing the number 6 position. And so I know that there are going to be concerns and conversations about, you know, like, hey Kevin, do you think that adding Kimmich to this squad is it not going to be too congested in the midfield? Don't you think that we already have enough midfielders? Well, first of all, I think that Oriol Romeu will leave in the next summer and Kimmich will be the direct replacement. I think that Gundogan will remain, and we'll have Gundogan and Kimmich as midfield options, which is amazing. That is world class. And I just feel like Gundogan will be at Barcelona for one more season at the very least. And so if this does end up happening and we succeed in this operation, which I hope we do, I hope that in the next season our lineup looks like this. We have Koundé, Araujo, and Christensen as our 3-man defensive line, going back to a 3-2-5 formation, just so you guys know. And then our double pivot being Kimmich and Frankie, which is phenomenal. It is killer. It is unbeatable to be having Kimmich and Frankie together in the double pivot positions. And then our front 5, this is the formation that we have when we go on the attack. So our front 5 being Balde on the left flank, Gundogan and Pedri as central midfielders, Lewandowski in the middle between Gundogan and Pedri, and then having Lamine Yamal on the right wing. And then our main rotational players being Cancelo, Gavi, Vitor Roque, and Joao Felix. Now I know that there is debates about how we should be having Joao Cancelo and Joao Felix into the starting 11 or having Gavi in place of Gundogan. It really doesn't matter. You can have Gavi over Gundogan, you can have Cancelo over Jules Koundé, you can have Joao Felix over someone like Gundogan or something like that, but it really doesn't matter. Like there's games, there's enough minutes for everybody. You guys are already seeing it right now. Having a world-class bench, it is necessary. And who knows, right? Like maybe Lewandowski does not even start next season. We have Vitor Roque between Gundogan and Pedri, or between Joao Felix and Pedri, or between Gavi and Pedri. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we have good problems next season to be able to debate what world-class player should be starting in the 11 and what world-class player should be on the bench. That is amazing. That is an amazing conversation to have. So I look at his value, and he's currently valued at 75 million euros. By the time we get into that summer, I do expect to see his value reduce just by a little because he has one more season left in him with Bayern Munich, and I hope that Barcelona can sign him for 60 million euros. That would be an amazing deal. He'll be 29 years old. We can lend him a 5-year contract. He's still at a very good state, very good level, and he looks very healthy and fit. So 5 years would be good. I think that he can give another 3 to 4 years of prime football if he were to join Barcelona next season. So that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.